I'm a pro.
All right, everybody. So I got a little friend joining me on the Q&A video today. She's, probably going to be the center of attention, so most of you won't even listen to what I'm saying. You'll just be looking at this girl all the entire time. She gets very needy, and if I stop petting her, she'll go crazy. Really? You make me look bad now? All right. I see how it is. That's fine. So going through a little Q&A. Haven't done one of these in a while. Kind of wanted to see what all of you wanted to know and hear and get my point of view about. So the first one that we're going to go into is why I went back to work. So I know a lot of you know, just after World's Strongest Man last year, I left my job as an athletic trainer at the boarding school world and committed to just being a professional strongman full time. And in that time span, it was awesome. I had a really great training in off season, and life was really good. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized it just wasn't kind of the lifestyle that I was looking for. While doing just strongman was a lot of fun and amazing, I'm the type of person that I really need structure in my life. And I realized that I wasn't taking advantage of my days as much as I should be. And I just felt like I was missing something. So I was really fortunate to have an amazing opportunity come up where I work with a good friend of mine who's an orthopedic doctor. And, so we work together. And the schedule is pretty great. And to be totally honest, in the U.S., one thing we have to worry about is health insurance. So that was a big issue for me as well. As a professional athlete, private insurance companies tend to not want to insure us because we are at too high of a risk of getting injured and needing them to help us. So I had a really big issue with getting proper health insurance. So, kind of going back to work full time, that was also a big motivator for me as well. But on the bright side, I work for an amazing company who's very supportive of my strongman career. Within the first 2 weeks of me starting that job, I had to compete at the Arnold Strongman Classic, and they had no issues with me taking time off to go do that. And they have pretty much given me the okay and the thumbs up to do every contest that I'm looking forward to doing this entire year, which that schedule looks totally different now because of what's going on in the world. But it's really nice to have that kind of support looking forward and having the stability of a regular income and job, going forward. So not all bad news. It was obviously, a lot of fun just being a pro athlete. But, in the long run, for myself, for Joey, for our family, this is what's going to be best for us. Next question. With what is going on in the world, how are you going to train while you are quarantined? So in my state, they haven't put an official shelter in place as of yet. Who knows what's going to happen when we put this video out. But to be totally honest, I'm actually taking a couple of weeks off of the gym. I think a lot of athletes and strength athletes could benefit from just some time off. We beat up our bodies so much, and to actually let some small injuries heal, get the body fully recovered. I will be staying active in my home. I'll be taking my dog on a walk, although she's not terribly motivated to do cardio. But that's pretty much her. Her exercise was her laying on me, then rolling over to this spot. But, I'll be going on walks with Joey. I'll be getting outside, doing some mobility stuff. And, I think it's really important. And I think there's a lot of stress in a time like this right now. And I feel that working in the healthcare field, I should be leading by example. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So doing a little bit of a modified self-quarantine where I go to work, I come home, and that's pretty much it. I'll spend time with Joey and Glitter. And that's what my days really look like right now. To be totally honest, I'm loving it. I never thought I would. I absolutely miss going to the gym. But I think it's really important for people to understand the severity of the situation and to really just be taking care of everybody right now. With me working in a hospital, I'm at extremely high risk of exposure. And I feel that it's really inconsiderate and, kind of immature of me to not think about that and make conscious decisions as I go out, especially going to the gym where we're very close proximity to each other. We're all touching different pieces of equipment. And, I just really feel better about it if I just make the decision to stay home, do things, and take care of my body in a way that I haven't been able to in a really long time. So I'm trying to spin this into a positive to make myself come out of the other end of this as healthy as possible and ready to attack the next prep for whatever contest comes up. Because right now, we don't know when that will be or where it will be. So we're kind of all in a holding pattern right now, but just trying to stay positive. Let's see. When's your first collab with another Gymshark athlete gonna be? So, right now I'm working with my athlete sponsor, coordinator over at Gymshark, and we're trying to figure out who's gonna be the best person to collab with. So if you have any suggestions, if you're a Gymshark fan and you have you have your favorite Gymshark athlete, obviously besides me, let me hear about it. Let me, kind of give me some ideas. I'm kind of new to the Gymshark family. Obviously doing my research on who is sponsored by them and who they work with. But I'd love to hear from you all who I should be working with and putting out some great collaborations with. I'm really excited to work with some awesome athletes of the Gymshark family. And obviously right now that's kind of on hold, but would like to kind of set things up down the pipeline to make sure we're putting out great content for everybody. So below in the comments, let me know who you think I should do a collab with, and we'll hopefully get the ball rolling on that. Best accessories for overhead and bench press. So for me, prior to working with my coach Derek Poundstone, I was one of those strongman athletes that didn't really bench press at all. And I definitely relied on my split jerk. My push press wasn't terribly strong. My strict press was even weaker. But I was able to get by and still put up some pretty good weight overhead. Now, since working with Derek for, nearly over a year and a half, close to 2 years now, tricep strength is one of the things we have hammered a ton, along with actually just bench pressing. So I bench press once a week right now, whether it's full range, doing paused reps, doing board pressing to shorten the range of motion and isolate the triceps. Those are all things I pretty much do on a weekly basis. Now, when we're looking at strengthening the triceps and the bench press or overhead movements, my personal favorite exercise that I have ever done, and I still do to this day, is a neutral grip incline skull crusher. So I'll take a football bar or some bar with a neutral grip, lay down on an incline bench. We'll keep our arms straight up to the sky. We'll just bend at the elbows. I typically try to touch the pad behind my head and then extend up. It's one of my favorite tricep exercises, and I think that's going to be one of the best ways to build up your bench press and overhead press by working on the triceps, because a lot of people forget that when they're going through and training. They're just trying to train the pecs or they're trying to train the delts, and really the triceps play a huge role in an overhead or a bench press movement. Where do you get your leggings? I get asked this question all the time. And to be totally honest, I Google crazy men's leggings and then just search. There really is no one specific website that I go to. There's a couple that I've seen in the past. There's Kapow and Sleefs. Those are a couple of good ones. But there are leggings all over the place. And obviously Gymshark has leggings. Then we're working on some stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about, but use your brains, people, and, kind of think about what the topic what we were just talking about and figure out what we might be working on. Winky face. I suck at winking. I have chubby cheeks, so it looks like I just blink. Looking at some more questions. What made you start your journey to being a strongman, and what kept you going in strongman, always being the small guy or the underdog? Awesome question. I love this one. I love talking about it. So for me, I started doing strongman back in 2009 when I was 17 years old. I was training at a CrossFit gym. I really sucked at CrossFit, but I was good at lifting pretty decently heavy stuff. The gym noticed that, and they signed me up for a strongman contest. And I went to the contest. I sucked. I took dead last, but I absolutely fell in love with the sport. And ended up going to college, found a local strongman gym after I did another local contest and started training at it, and really just honestly fell in love with the culture and the fact that it is, I call it like an individual team sport, because you have so many people supporting you and surrounding you and wanting you to do better, but at the end of the day, it's you performing on the platform, on the competition stage, and nobody else. And I really liked having that pressure on me, because I realized if I succeed, I've done what I needed to do to get there. If I failed, I have a lot more work to do. And for those of you that aren't familiar with my journey through the strongman world, when I began competing, I competed under 200 pounds. So that's 90 kilos, I think. Yeah, 198. So I started at that weight class. And my goal was to be the best that I could in that weight class. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I really didn't care because I just loved the sport. So I took dead last in the first 8 competitions that I did. And after like the second or third contest, my goal was don't take last. So that stayed my goal until I achieved that. 8th competition, great. I didn't come in last. Came in second to last, but whatever. From there, my goal was to not zero an event. So it took me until my 14th competition to zero an event. Fortunately, after that, my next goal was to get on the podium, which I did in my 17th contest. So I competed a lot in the 200-pound weight class. Ended up going to the U.S. Amateur National Championship in 2011 as a 200-pounder. Had no idea what I was getting myself into and took second place, which was really awesome. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's probably all I really want to go, because at that point I was 220 pounds, cutting down. So I was about 100 kilos, cutting down to 90 or 200 pounds. And it was getting a little bit difficult. So I made the jump to the 231 or 105 kilo class. So doing that, again, my goal was the same. Get as high as I could in that weight class until I needed to move on. 2012 went to the Amateur National Championships with the goal of winning. I was in first place going into the final event by 13 points, and I lost. I lost that contest by 1 point and missed out on getting my pro card. Fast forward to 2013, I won the national championship in the 231 or 105 kilo class, actually by the largest margin of victory at a national championship, and made my jump into the pro level for the 105 kilo class. Competed as a 105 athlete up until 2016, so I took second place at America's Strongest Man in that weight class in 2014 and 2015. 2016, went to 105 kilo worlds, had the hardest and most horrible weight cut of my life. It was my first time traveling internationally, and really just, that was kind of my aha moment to where I needed to jump up into the heavies. 2017, did my first heavyweight open class. In January of that year, I won, got an invite to the Arnold, South Africa, and then also got a wild card invite to World's Strongest Man that year. So for everybody watching this, I wasn't good at strongman when I started, and it took me a really long time to get to the point where I'm at. So my big one, the one big takeaway that I can give to you all is set small attainable goals that you know you can achieve and work towards that. Once you've achieved that, then that goal can change to something bigger. I think a lot of people get into strongman and strength sports and automatically think, oh, I want to be at World's Strongest Man. And that's really great, but, that's a pipe dream goal that not a lot of people achieve. And it's really easy to lose sight of that or get put off track if something doesn't go right. So I think if you kind of start on a smaller scale and incrementally get bigger on your goals, you're only going to be more successful in the long run, and that's how I was able to do it. There was another question that I saw when I was scrolling through is, what are the goals that I haven't achieved yet that I want to? And my goals have not changed now for the past almost 2 years. So I'm stubborn, and my first goal is to make the top 10 at World's Strongest Man and make the finals. That was a goal of mine last year, and I just narrowly missed it. So that goal doesn't change because I didn't achieve it. My other goal is to make the top 5 at the Arnold Strongman Classic. And for those of you that know that the Arnold just happened, I took 6th place. So again, just narrowly missing out on the goal that I set. But looking to World's Strongest Man this year and the Arnold next year, those goals will not change until I achieve them. And then I can step it up, get into a different headspace, and really work for something a little bit higher that might be up on the that I could achieve, and that's the biggest thing. So my mentality hasn't changed throughout my entire career, and it's staying the same for my next two goals coming up. Last question we'll do is, what made you want to what made you two want to get married, and how did you know Joey was the one? Um, so Joey and I, we've been together for, gosh, September is going to be 6 years, and it was pretty cool that we met at a time that neither of us were really looking for a long term relationship. I was a graduate student. Joey had just finished his undergraduate degree, and we were both 22 years old. So just kind of seeing what was out there, and not real didn't really have our mindset on marriage or a long term relationship. Obviously we screwed that up, but we had kind of like any early 20s couple does. They have the relationship that has its ups and downs, and unfortunately we had more ups, and just kind of stuck through together. And he was unbelievably supportive in my goals in strongman. He had no idea what the sport was. When we first met, I remember it was about 2 weeks before my first ever America's Strongest Man appearance, and he had no idea what strongman was. And even to this day, like our first date, I was actually cutting weight at our first date. So we went out to dinner, and I ordered like salmon and steamed broccoli with water. And so really it's funny to see, him come into my life at that point, not knowing what the heck was going on and thinking I was just kind of this health freak, but really I'm a fat kid, as I mentioned. If you see my food video, that I eat a pint of ice cream almost every night. So we we fortunately just kind of hit it off, and we've been really really supportive of each other and each other's goals. He's just finished his master's degree in occupational therapy, and so getting him through that was difficult, as any master's program is. But I was there for him the entire way, and vice versa. Him, as you all see, he's at virtually every single strongman competition with me. So we have this mutual respect and support for each other that is, just kind of unwavered throughout our entire relationship. And we got engaged on his birthday, December 17th in 2016. And, we had been together for like 2.5 years at that point, and I just realized I didn't want to be with anybody else. I didn't, it was, my life was great with him. We both had the same idea of what we wanted our lives to look like in the long run, and everything just matched up perfectly. So we got engaged early. Well, not early, 2.5 years. We're 20 years on his 25th birthday in 2016, and had a decently long engagement. We had went back and forth about having the traditional big wedding, and ultimately, before we left for Australia in 2019, about a month prior to that, Joey just looked at me one day and said, "Why don't we just get married when we go there? The weather was going to be perfect." And we jumped on the chance. So we were able to throw together a quick wedding in Melbourne, Australia, which was absolutely amazing and gorgeous and perfect in every single way. We did it really quickly, but it came out exactly how we wanted it to. We were able to live stream it for our family so they could still be a part of it, which was really special for us. But ultimately, the day was about us and celebrating our love for each other, which was really amazing. And I think just the way our lives have panned out really has just put us on a great track for what we want to get out of our lives. And I think that was the biggest reason why we ended up getting married and staying together for so long, so which is really cool. Other than that, nice to end on a sentimental note. As always, make sure you click the link below to check out all the newest Gymshark swag that is out there. It's really, I gotta be honest, it is really comfortable clothing. And, as a bigger guy, I like wearing comfortable clothes and not being uncomfortable all the time. And even to train, I was a little bit concerned with strongman, that the material would be a little bit slippery, or that it might not jive with what we're doing in the strongman events. But after doing log press in it and after doing some of these events, the clothing is awesome, and it stands up to the beating that we put on our clothes in strongman. So make sure you click the link below to get on top of your Gymshark clothing. And as always, comment below. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Well, there's nothing you don't like. So tell us everything you love. And make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video, put us out there, get your friends to to subscribe as well. We're trying to build this into a much bigger platform than it is right now, and I think all of you can agree that it should be bigger. So that is our goal, and appreciate all your love and support, and we'll catch you next time.